I'm still trying to picture Rick Reichart. Rickart? How do you pronounce it? Reichart. I'm still trying to picture
maybe
him.
you had the Canadian impression.
Ricard.
This is Auto Collabs.
Reichart.
I'm still trying to picture him on a motorcycle that's too small for himself.
That's easy for me to picture. You kidding me?
Is it?
Yeah, of course. Just think like knees up high, right? Elbows out, right? Goggles. That's all gonna go.
He's on like a Honda Grom. I think
exactly.
he goes to 7-Eleven on it.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Michael, is this your first like beginning of summer in Texas?
No. Second.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you know what to expect.
And also, by the way, this is why I'm wearing a hoodie.
I was wondering that
because
if you're
the
just listening,
AC
Cirillo
never
shows
turns off.
It never turns off. It actually feels colder in the summer indoors everywhere in the South. It's unbelievable.
You could set your thermostat here to 75 and you're chattering, your teeth are chattering indoors because
you're like, why am I freezing cold?
Because the AC is like, I know if I turn off for 5 minutes, I'm going to lose this fight. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's never like in an upstate New York, there's always this weird option. Like it gets cooler at nighttime. Maybe we're going to have it on today, but I guess in the South, it's like, nope, that sucker's on.
It's just on.
Actually, you know that little whine that you hear in an AC?
Yeah.
That's actually the AI taking over going,
well, speaking of Texas, our next guest is from Texas, Chris Adams from Car Offer. I believe it was headquartered in Dallas. And I don't know, Michael. Maybe the two of you could go get some ice cream. You guys,
there it is.
We do in
cool
Texas.
down on a summer day.
But yeah, no, it'll be interesting to talk about what's going on in their world. And as always, we like to ask people their backstory, which is kind of our favorite part of this podcast. So we hope you enjoy this conversation with Chris Adams.
All right, Chris, thanks for hanging out with us today, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Yeah, so the first question that I have for you, and I know that typically when we start the show, we talk a little bit about your background and your history, but I cannot get over the fact that literally your title begins with the word Matrix. You are the Matrix Operations Director, which sounds like something either out of 2001 when like Matrix 2 was done or something like in 3053. So start with that. I want to hear like what does Matrix Operations Director mean so that we can level set and all know we're on the same page here.
So I won't make you choose blue pill or red pill. So that's a good place to start, I guess.
Perfect.
And so it's great too, because my 2.5-year-old daughter, she knows that Matrix means work now. She's like, oh, work. It's beautiful. So, but being the Matrix Operations Director here essentially means all things buying. I'm pretty much responsible for at Car Offer. So really, making sure that we are kind of poised to make good offers over the platform, and just, also monitoring everything buying considered. And that comes with a lot of market analytics, a lot of strategy on our end to figure out how to get our sellers the best offer on our platform.
This means that you've got, like, you said red pill, blue pill, and then I immediately thought red car, blue car, and how nobody wants those. Do you have data in your system that highlights for the end user, hey, if you're going to be acquiring inventory, make sure it's these colors? Like, do you get that level of data? And if so, what are you seeing as a common thread? Do people want red cars and blue cars, or is it black, silver, and white, like everybody's been talking about?
Typically you have black, silver, white, and gray are the predominant, like, the what people want the most. And I think what's been really fun, I've ran the Matrix here, really for almost 4 years now. And what's been neat about, and I know what y'all know about the platform, is that the analytics that we have, and really kind of what the Matrix does is really what you're talking about is going in there and going, okay, what are people looking for? And it's really neat to sit there and see, we go and basically take buy orders from our customers or our dealers, where they're saying, hey, I want 15 Camrys, and I want a couple 4Runners, and I want some Corollas, whatever it may be, and they go in there and with my team, with our dealer sales managers, with our national sales managers, we sit in and they really go in and kind of preface. It's almost like a limit order when you're placing a stock, saying I want 5 shares of Apple, and I'll buy them when it hits $120 a share, and then you own that stock. Same thing with a car, where you go in there and you say, to your point, I want 4 blue Tahoes. Said no one ever, but going in there and going in and kind of prefacing those orders, and then we provide the analytics. So since everyone bids the exact same way on our platform, using these kind of like limit orders, if you will, I can really go in there, and on the analyzer side of things is what we actually have a data scientist that's on our staff, where he came in and kind of re-engineered our matrix to do exactly what you're saying, and go, okay, how many people are looking for X cars? How many people are looking for these? And then we can actually, we reverse engineered it to go, okay, which cars on our platform can you buy kind of at the least expensive variable? Like where are people not bidding? And I think most of the time that you'll find it's cars that are, like that, the red or the blue or the 2.7 liter, F-150 that's 2-wheel drive,
Yeah, I mean, well, this is the thing that grinds my gears, is when I hear the industry go, but like Cirillo, man, like we have the most days supply of inventory in the market. How come nobody? It's like, cause bro, I don't wear enough wife beaters to buy an orange truck. You know what I mean?
It's actually, I don't know how Cirillo just went from surfer dude.
That's what I don't know. Yeah.
I don't even know where that accent came from, and then to end with the wife beaters and an orange truck.
I can't.
I know you had an extra day off last
hair.
week. What?
I can't grow Jake Paul's hair. I'm not buying an orange. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I can't get over that. I think at some point I feel like they should change your title to be like the we're proving you're not original operations director.
Oh, that's right? That is so much better. So much better.
It's very true. It's like, okay, hey, you're going to compete and you're going to go after and buy the exact same cars everyone else is. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the difference.
I mean, it's so interesting to see, like, we have, some dealers that are looking for like core, very, very, very specific inventory. Well, guess what? You have to pay a lot of money to get those cars. Our average offer on the platform right now it's almost 107%. Because of people going after these like really, really specific, and they pay up to get those cars. And so it's been very unique. I mean, I think the cool part about it is looking through, and I used to be on calls with dealers, almost once a week, every week. I was talking to hundreds of dealers all over the country, which is, again, kind of like, it's almost like a stockbroker, right? Like you're listening, hearing, understanding, and knowing what's really like going on pulse related all over the market. And that's where it's really neat to go back and see, like, okay, I know kind of what the market's doing before it even happens. And I think that's where like the power of our analytics, especially if you get like a dealer that I'm getting on a call with and they're using JD Power to bid on, that book doesn't change for a month, right? So I can literally see the bids move around that book on a week over week, day over day basis. And we refresh our data every night. So our buyers can go and see, like, I don't know another platform out there that you can go and say, okay, tell me exactly to the dollar what I need to do to buy this car right now today. I can tell you that on our platform. I can tell you where you need to be the most visible. And then you can go in there, and there's 2 degrees. It can tell you where you need to be to win a vehicle, but it can also tell you where you need to be to not overpay, right? When the market's shifting and when it's transitioning, I can go, hey, on this one right here, you're actually a little bit high. We need to back this up $50, $100, $500, whatever that may be.
I mean, it's like what they say with contractors. like they'll say if you win every bid, then you're doing it wrong. Right. And that's like very similar. Like if you're just getting everything, it's an indicator you're very much overpaying for everything. I mean, obviously you're going to win some, you should be losing some, right? Because it can't be a right fit for everybody. Just reminded me of that. Kyle, what were you going to say?
Well, I'm like, how do you go? When do you become in charge of a matrix? Right? Like, how does a career trajectory be like? I'm now in charge of watching and determining how dealers buy and sell inventory across the nation. What did that like? How did you get there? And then like, what learning did you have to be able to be in this seat?
So y'all love this story. I'll tell it really quick.
We'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, maybe
we can't take him anywhere.
I know.
He's extra special today.
I don't know what's up with me. Okay, lay it on us. I can't wait.
No, so I actually so I studied history in college. Nothing to do with automotive.
Perfect.
And then
Yes. Now you're predicting the future.
I'm predicting the future now, and it's perfect. But no, I went through. I worked for Sewell Automotive in Dallas for about 9 years. So I sold for 2 of the 9, and then I essentially went and worked in new cars for about 2.5 years, and then I worked for the last 5 years of my career in used cars, and really at a couple different sizes of stores, anywhere that sold 60 to 80 used cars a month, all the way up to about 450 used cars a month. I worked at the number 1 certified pre-owned Cadillac dealer in the country. The number 1 certified pre-owned Lexus dealership in the country, both of which are about half a mile apart from each other. And so, I mean, Sewell really gave me this like incredible foundation, not only of car automotive expertise, just with these like amazing giants that I got to learn from, but also just like, kind of running a business and processes and things like that. And so, in 2017, I actually resigned from Sewell, and I went and traveled the world for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I told you this is the part of the story you're gonna like. So
I like the first part when you said, "Hey, I sold cars before." If I was you, and I say this to every industry partner we talk to, that would be the first statement out of my mouth all the time. And did you know I sold cars before? All right, so you travel the world.
Yeah, and so I was 31 and decided to go, and I'd never been overseas, and I was like, I just want to go do it. I kind of had been successful in the automotive world, and went and did it for 2 years, and went scuba diving and traveled and just did a lot of fun stuff, and then got back in.
Whoa. You were just like, I just went scuba diving and did some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of that. Where did you go? What was the coolest place?
Yeah, so 2018, I went around the world twice and went to like 25 countries. It was sick. So went and so yeah, I went. I did some diving in some of the most remote places in the world. So I went to Malapascua in the Philippines. That was pretty cool, which you probably have never.
Michael's
heard
been to the Philippines. He spent
Yeah,
how long
I lived in the Philippines for 2 years.
Ah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if those were at the same time. What years are we talking about here?
No.
Okay.
No.
That was like 2018, 2019.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
This was back when I had hair.
So yeah, and I went to Bali a couple times. Did some really cool dives there, and
Wow.
I mean,
How
South
did-
America.
How did going to all these places, if at all, but I mean, I know it did for me. I can only imagine going to 20 to 25 different countries around the world twice. How did this shape or change your perspective about us here in North America? Like just everything in general, how we conduct business, how we think about things. Like did you get a glimpse into like, oh dang, like we've got it really good over here?
I think so. I think it's unique to see how other countries, like what their perspective on Americans is, and like what our perspective is on other countries. So that's pretty unique. But I think like overall, like if I I think I just like really found out like I love like talking to people and hanging out and like like just being invested in like getting to know and understand like how people think, and like that was like one of the most fun things because I tried to stay at like community style, like hostel style environment hotels where I could really get to like know the people, know the culture, get to know the food, and all that kind of stuff. Like I just really like that environment. So it was really fun. So
what's the best food you had out there?
I was gonna ask.
Man, if you want to go like the best food you're ever gonna have, you got to go to Peru.
Really?
Yeah, like Lima is just unbelievable. It like overall, like everything I had there was like, oh, that's the best burrito I've ever had. Like that's the best like steak I've ever. I mean, it was just like unreal. So yeah, but it's like it's renowned for having the best cuisine in the world. So, but I'm a foodie. Like man, I love to eat. I love to do like cook, like all those sorts of things. So
okay, so let me ask you this: where do you get good Asian food in Dallas?
Asking for a friend
because like because like growing up in Canada, which is like this ethnic melting pot, a blind person could walk down the street in Canada and take a right turn and it's a 50-50 he's in a Thai food restaurant. You know what I mean?
Right.
Here, I'm like, where do I go? Where do I get a good pizza? Where do I get good Asian food in this place? Like, and I'm not talking about a pizza with brisket.
Carrollton
My
is
nonna
Asian.
would be rolling over in her grave to eat a pizza with brisket on it.
Wait, he gave you the name. He gave you the name. Where was it?
You gotta go to Carrollton. Carrollton's where all the best Asian
Okay.
food is. Yeah, for sure.
See, look at that.
This is the only reason
Learning
Cyril actually does this show.
Hey guys,
things.
you guys got it
about
from here. I'll see myself out.
Yeah. Oh, the guy from Dallas is on. I'm gonna be there today.
He loves
I didn't know he was from Dallas.
Wait.
But hey, TripAdvisor.
Yeah, so that's how like so I guess to kind of wrap the story up, like I got back, was about to get married, and I was like, I guess I should get a job, and so I put on LinkedIn open opportunities, and I had a guy that I worked at Sewell with, he's our basically like executive VP over kind of like product and strategy, and he called me up and was like, hey, we're starting this thing called Car Offer. We want you to be a part of it. And so I literally came in Plano when it was like a warehouse, concrete floors, the whole 9 yards. He was like basically telling me his vision. I met with Bruce Thompson like a week or two later and got to, meet him, understand, and kind of like see where he wanted to take the company. And then it was great because we started with like 7 people, and then we launched out of Pearl Technology Holdings, which I know, other folks are familiar with, like, JMS Auto Exchange, which Bruce kind of developed and sold. Mm-hmm. He developed and sold Red Bumper, New Car IQ, like all these different things. And so we used Red Bumper when we were at Sewell. I knew of Bruce and of the company. And then kind of what happened is I just, kind of stepped into it with these other 7 people. We had our development team, which was kind of cranking in the background. And really a few of these key individuals that, started this thing, and really our sales team going out there and getting dealers to engage. And then this core car offer team really designing the product and pushing things forward. But I mean, really at that point, it was like we had a shell of a product and we were just trying to figure out how to make it work. And I mean, I think that's where like, everything kind of funneled to me because I had the buying experience, and another guy, Jeff Bittencourt, who was with CarMax for like 17 years. And so I know y'all probably have met him before, and just like a really, unique and interesting setup to where we had these dealer sales managers that were like the relationship managers with the dealer. And really just trying to figure out, okay, how do we partner with your business the best? And I think like that's where me being from so many different, styles of dealerships, big, small, in between, I could get on the phone with a dealer that sells, 500 to 1,000 cars a month and kind of understand their business model. and get on this, with someone with 30 to 40 cars in their inventory, understand that business model as well, and go, how do we pair with you the best, and how can you use us to like actually benefit? Because not every dealer.
I love that question, because like if you're starting with that as your root objective, like how do we partner with you the best, instead of like how do we solve your problems, or how do we fix what you're doing wrong, or how do we, like, those are the wrong question starters. Your question, like your initial starter question for any interaction is, how do we partner with you best? That's going to solve a ton of problems, right? Because then it's everyone looking at the problem together instead of like looking at each other as the problem. So kudos to you of like making that your core competency question. How are you scaling that up as Car Offer grows? How are you scaling that feeling and responsibility into others at this point?
It is. I mean, I think the hard part is sometimes dealers don't know how do we partner with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like that's one of the. It's just we have a more technical product, right? When you're going through there, and like if we get someone on the other end that's invested and like, okay, like I want to grow, I want to be an adopter, I want to figure out how to make this work. That kind of partnership is incredible on that, really like kind of like foundation level. I think like some people walk in a little bit going, you need to make me better, right? And then I got to like bump my head trying to figure out how their business model works and all this sort of stuff. Like the more transparent and open you are from the beginning, like we will be like as transparent as we possibly can. Because again, like we're just trying to help. We're just trying to figure out how to either help you buy cars or help you sell cars, help you do both, and really make your dealership more profitable. And I think like the bonus you get is the access to all this information, where like we're going through and analyzing the market like to the nth degree, because we have all this book data and information. So it's pretty interesting.
I have so our time's running out here, but I have a question to kind of wrap us up. What do you think is the biggest blind spot right now that some dealers or many dealers might be missing? What's the blind spot?
Blind spot for me is like they have access to trending market data to see like where price changes are week over week. If they were tracking this is one of the main leading indicators that we look at. It can help you make massive business decisions and save literally hundreds of thousands of dollars if you're going in there and looking at that data.
All right. Well, Chris, this has been awesome hearing about your story. Just hearing about what you're doing in the industry and the passion you're approaching the work, and honestly, the intelligence by which you're approaching the work. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us today on Auto Collabs.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Honestly, I'm just so happy that we had a conversation where we were able to talk about blue pill, red pill. That just kind of like
your whole life.
Been waiting a podcast with that, and I'm good. I can be done podcasting. No, but first of all, really, just the fact that like traveling for 2 years, I'm sure that his perspective on every conversation, every interaction, the way he approaches dealers, the way he knows about cities and places and conversations that he can bring up. I bet the interaction with him and a dealer is more dialed in, not just because of his time at Sewell and the stores that he was, but like I'm guessing that there's actually more learning that he's bringing to the table in the way that people approach their businesses from his time traveling the world. If I had to guess.
It's like, these poser like business coaches that do their seminars and they're like, in order to change one's perspective, do this exercise.
One's perspective must first change.
Yeah, stand on a chair in the corner of your room and look at the room from a different angle, and that will open your mind. It's like, bro actually got out of his natural habitat and traveled the world twice over in 2 years. Like, he's bringing all sorts of perspective into conversations and different ways of thinking. I think is the big part that just makes for a much more whole conversation.
I still can't believe when someone has been in like the trenches in the industry and sold cars and spent time that it's just not the first thing that you say everywhere. Every time I find that, I mean, that's got to be the fourth time we figured this out about somebody in just like the last couple of months where they were like, oh yeah, so I did sell cars. And we're like, what? You sold cars? Why don't you just tell everybody you sold cars? Because there is a thing that happens when a dealer knows that you've sold cars, right? Kyle, I think, Michael, have you ever sold cars? I haven't ever sold cars. Kyle has.
I've sold lots of cars.
He sold lots of cars, right? Yeah. And there is like, explain what that camaraderie is, Kyle. I can only see it from an outsider's perspective.
Man, it's a whole thing. Yeah, like waking up on a Saturday and nobody else is going to work, but you're going to work and you're putting in the hours. And yeah, it's a whole thing. Like, and just like the late hours, you just know if a guy stayed at the dealership or a gal stayed at the dealership till 11:30 to see that the last two wheels roll the curb, like that's just, you can't put that into words what that feels like with the people that are there, the finance manager, the family at home, all that type of stuff. So it's not just knowing what cars to buy or where to buy them. It's the like little idiosyncrasies.
Did you notice, Michael,
the culture?
Did you notice how Kyle was like, roll the curb? Like, oh, that's something that
he just started throwing lingo at us.
That's something we say in DeClink, right? Like,
well, hey, we really hope that you enjoyed this conversation with the Matrix Operation Director of Car Offer, Chris Adams. So on behalf of myself, Paul J. Daly, Michael Cirillo, we'll see you next time on Auto Collabs. Welcome to Auto Collabs. Why are we recording?
Are we rolling yet?